There are already more official moves in the Chivas team. And here we are going to talk about the latest confirmed arrivals and departures, as well as some rumors that are going around in the Tapatio team's environment. Stay with me and we'll talk about it next. I'm Jesus Bernal and I thank all of you for your attention. Thank you very much for being here with me to talk about the latest regarding the Chivas team and all these topics I'm discussing with you. Alright, so let's get into this topic of rumors. First of all, it's already confirmed. Isaac, the little bunny Brizuela, is not staying with the sacred flock. A player who, it was obvious, was already living his last moments with Chivas, who had been left out since the time of Oscar Garcia. They talked to him and well, in the end he made the decision to stay with the team. Someone who had settled in the city, and in any case, the fact that he held on allowed him to get a few minutes on the field. And in that tournament actually it was very little, only 144%. He played 22 minutes, and if I remember correctly, it was in the match against Puebla. Already a veteran player, 35 years old. And well, here they are. Look at Cohn's numbers. He played U21. Did he actually play 800 minutes? But at Chivas, in the last two tournaments actually, in the last three, since the Apertura 24, 47, 79, 22, 300. He had already been struggling more or less since 2022, Isaac Brizuela, who had lost that leading role, so he's not staying at Chivas? Here's the news. And the news is that, from what I'm told, Cohn wants to stay active. We'll have to see which team is interested in signing him and bringing in this veteran player, but with a lot of experience in the first division. There's a rumor about Toro Guzmán, about this search for a central defender for the Chivas team. A player that, for the Rebaño to be able to bring him in, the perfect opportunity has to come up. Otherwise, it's complicated. What would the perfect opportunity be? That Rayados wants to let him go, which is on track. Number one, number two, that Rayados sets a good price. And then number three, that things can work out. If Rayados is willing to sell him at a good price for Chivas, the Rebaño can sign him. Otherwise, it's complicated, and that's the reason. In preseason today, we saw Leo Sepulveda, Luis Olivas, and Tiba Sepulveda. They are the non-starting center backs. Even Miki Tapias himself, they are not starters. However, the management said, we're going to keep them, because so far there isn't any center back. So, the thing about Toro Guzmán is a rumor that's out there, a possibility that could happen, but as I said, certain circumstances have to happen for this to take place. What's going on with Cade Cowell? Well, I already informed you a few weeks ago about the loan that New York Red Bulls has agreed on with Chivas so that this player can return to the United States. Well, today he didn't show up anymore. Today he didn't show up to work. Today he didn't show up to train. And this obviously opens the door for us to confirm his move to the New York team. The matter is very simple. If the deal wasn't finalized, Cade Cowell would have had to go with Chivas today because he still has a valid contract since the deal is finalized. Even though it's not official yet, Cade Cowell no has any reason to go with Guadalajara because he has a commitment with another club. So you can check this one off. It's completely official that Cade Cowell is leaving for the New York Red Bulls team. It's also official. Although it hasn't been announced, at least at the time of recording this video, the return of Ricardo El 4K Marin to the Chivas team. The truth is that it was already known for a few days that this was going to happen. Quattro K has been working, he's been training, he wants to have a good tournament. And honestly, the situation is that today he was already present at the team's physical and medical tests. So, that's how it is, I insist, even though Chivas hasn't made it official yet, today we saw him there. Which means that he's in their plans and that they're considering him as a reinforcement or reintegration for the team ahead of the next tournament. For me, it's very clear, isn't it? If he was able to score or produce 6 goals with Puebla coming off the bench. At Chivas, I think he contributes a lot, something they lacked from the bench before. And with a more supportive team, well, maybe he has a chance to give a little more. The one who just didn't show up today for the physical and medical tests was Alan Pulido. He didn't show up. He claimed to have a stomach issue and that this prevented him from being there. So, what they told us is that Chivas asked him to show up for work tomorrow to do the physical and medical tests tomorrow. Well, let's see how it all ends, right? I would give the player the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I would believe that obviously he wasn't in condition and that's why he disobeyed the order to report for duty today. But well, we can't rule out some other situation either. We understand that he's no longer in the plans, that he's no longer being considered, that the player will leave the club. They're just looking for a place for him to see where he can end up. But he's one of those players that Coach Gabby Melito no longer counts on and doesn't want to see on the team anymore. He wants to find some other alternatives and solutions, and for that reason, new players have joined the club. The one who had already been officially announced a few days ago and who showed up to work today was none other than Brian Gutierrez. This Mexican-American, who arrived in Guadalajara over the weekend, took his physical and medical tests and did them again today. He showed up again today. In fact, he was the very first to arrive on time at 7 in the morning for the appointment. After that, well, he was also the first to leave. And given this situation, the thing is that his incorporation is already completely confirmed. I insist, Chivas published it on Friday. But today we already saw him there joining his teammates, and little by little we'll surely get to know him and see him in a much better way. So add this player, Brian Gutierrez, to the list. I think the fight for a spot will get interesting with several players because he can play several roles on the field. What's your bet? Do you think he'll be a starter right away, or do you think it'll be hard for him to earn a spot? I'd like you to put it in the comments. About Tun Wilke, pay attention because Tun Wilke was also at the physical and medical test today. He also showed up to train today. And even though the management has in mind to give him this opportunity to be able to, let's say, to leave because they want to give him minutes. Since he still has a valid contract, as long as nothing is arranged for Wilke to leave the club, he will have to keep working with the Chivas team. Surely in the next few days we'll find out what might happen, right? Where this player's situation might be headed, who for now is still there. They tell me he's super professional, that he's one of those guys who's always committed, working hard, giving his all, trying to contribute to the group. And well, now it's time, right? It's time for Tun Wilke to maybe try his luck somewhere else. But we'll see about that in the next few days when things become a little clearer. For now, he's training alongside his teammates. Another one who was on the edge, or still is Alan Mozo. And today he also reported to work, same situation. He's a guy who could have a market to leave. But so far, since there isn't a concrete offer, the management itself has decided that he can stay and keep working. If there's nothing interesting, then he'll stay. He still has a contract, and if an offer comes in, then he could leave the club. Today, like I said, he showed up. In fact, he arrived with the last group for the physical and medical tests. He seemed to be in a good mood. He looked happy, ready to get back to work. Someone else who showed up today was Gilberto Tiba Sepulveda, another one who's been on the edge lately, another one who's been talked about a lot during all this time. And for now, the management itself has decided that it's best to put a hold on the possibility of him leaving. Tiba Sepulveda, who despite everything had opportunities this tournament, maybe his style of play doesn't fit the roles that Gabi Milito asks of his center backs. But when he was needed, he delivered, and I think he ended up doing well in the games he had to play in the ones he participated in. In fact, even though this possibility existed, or still exists, that he could leave, it was actually the board itself that stopped the matter, right? They're not willing to lose him that easily the first time either. No, they want to hold on a little longer. And if no player comes who can take his place, well, he's going to stay. He's not going to stay. That's what's budgeted for, at least right now, in the case of Tiba Sepulveda. That he can continue belonging to the Chivas team and playing for the team when required and when necessary, so that Gabi Milito can use this player. And finally, another official move is the departure of Javier Chicharito Hernandez, who is no longer part of the Chivas team. His 2-year contract ended, and from there, it was the management itself that made the decision to thank him. At this moment as well, from what I've been told, Chicharito is looking for another place, another team where he can continue his career, where he can keep playing soccer, and he's trying to do everything he can to prolong his time on the field, which he enjoys, which he wants, and for now, at least, his goal is to keep playing. Alright, we'll end this video here. Thank you very much for your attention. Keep subscribing, commenting, sharing, and liking, and I'll see you next time. I'm Jesus Bernal. Goodbye.